Lactantius, The Deaths of the Persecutors, Episode 5. This is an image of the portrait of the Tetrarchs, which is now located in Venice, but originally stood in Constantinople at the Philadelpheion. The Tetrarchy was a political arrangement at the end of the 3rd and beginning of the 4th century set up by Diocletian. There was a Caesar and an Augustus in the west, and a Caesar and an Augustus in the east. This was intended to provide for succession. When Constantine the Great came to power in 306, he retained this formally and officially, but in fact he became the sole ruler of a reunited empire. These are the political events against which Lactantius writes this famous work. Destulerat enim poenae ordinum Deus, ut ederet in eos magna et mirabilia exempla, quibus posteri discurrent, et Deum esse unum et eundem judicem digna, videlicet supplicia impiis ac persecutoribus in rogardere. Now Lactantius continues. He says, enim, for, and note that this is post-positive, which means it cannot be the first word in its sentence or clause. For God, there's our subject, had put off destulerat, and destulerat is third singular, pluperfect, indicative, and active. Get my abbreviations in there correctly. For God had put off or deferred poenas eorum, their punishments. Now this enim here is occasioned by the comment that Lactantius made at the end of the previous sentence, which you'll find in the previous episode, in which he said that their punishment was sero. It happened late, but he said nevertheless it was graviter, serious or weighty, and it was digne, well-deserved. God had delayed the punishments of the persecutors, and why did he do this? He did this ut, and this ut now here is a purpose clause. How can we tell that it's purpose and not result? Context will tell us. Now, between negative purpose and negative result, there is a syntactic or grammatical difference. Ut plus subjunctive makes for the positive purpose. Ut plus subjunctive makes for the positive result. Ne plus subjunctive is the negative purpose, but ut and a negative, like non or nihil, etc., with a subjunctive, is the negative result. I believe this one, based on context, is purpose. For God had delayed their punishment so that he might ederet, and this means to publish or put forth. It's from the verb edo, which is third conjugation, that he might set abroad or put forth against them in eos. Notice here, in, with the accusative, has the sense of direction, and in this instance it has quite an antagonistic sense, that he might publish against them magna et mirabilia exempla. He might publish against them great and astounding examples. This is not how we would use the word example in English, and so perhaps it's best not to translate by derivatives here, that he might publish against them great and wonderful illustrations, by which, quibus, and the antecedent of quibus is going to be exempla, and therefore as exempla is neuter, plural, and accusative, as the object of its verb ederet, quibus likewise is neuter and plural, but not accusative, rather it must be ablative, because that's how it's being used in its clause. By which their descendants, posteri, or posterity generally, might learn, and now we have run out of time for this episode. We'll have to see in the next episode what it is that God wants them to learn.